Hi, I'm Ashley Lovell, Hoover City Council, Place 3.
And I'm Robin Schultz, Hoover City Council, Place 1.
Don't forget to subscribe
so that you never miss another episode of After the Gavel. Hello, I'm Robin Schultz.
And I'm Ashley Lovell.
Welcome to After the Gavel. Today we're going to cover the July 27th, 2026 council meeting. Now, we did not have an After the Gavel after the last council meeting because it went 3.5 hours long. And so we did not have an opportunity to tape it after the meeting. We're doing it now. Full disclosure, we tried to do a Zoom podcast, and we had some technical difficulties with that, so hopefully we will not miss another After the Gavel. But today we're going to cover July 27th, 2026. Council President Middlebrooks gavelled the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. All members were present. And Ashley, why don't you tell us who led the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, so we have two special individuals, Sarah and Harper Little, and they have won the 2026 Journey of Hope Award for United Ability, and they're one of the honorees. And so they're obviously Hoover residents. They go to the Hoover City Schools. They're in Girl Scouts in Hoover. And so we brought them over to City Hall. Harper in particular has a heart for legislation and advocating for those with disabilities. And so she was able to come in and meet the mayor. She was able to see how our back offices look. I swore them in as official counselors and they got pins. And so we really enjoy having members of the community like that to come up and be recognized because this is what it's all about here in Hoover.
Yeah, and they led the pledge and did a fantastic job.
Yes, they did.
Mayor Durzis recognized the events team for the First on the Fourth. They did a phenomenal job.
Amazing.
They did a really good job. He did ask a really good question, though, after we broke the Guinness Book of World Records. How are we going to follow up next year?
That's right.
Yeah, and so, by the way, we have the champion of the hot dog eating contest here. With 3 hot dogs.
There's a lot of bread.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
It's bad.
It is not as easy as one would think.
Yeah.
All right, it just is not as easy as one would think. But
and
Ashley,
I want to give a shout out to Miss Lynn Franks from the Hoover Beautification Board. I'm an advisor to them for the City Council liaison, and they got me a hot dog cookie at the meeting today. So I just thought that was really thoughtful and brought a smile to my face and helped me continue to live in my glory with such an important title as hot dog eating champ.
Well, hopefully we will try to dethrone her as champion next year.
In our term.
All right, we had a public comments from the Hindu temple that's going to be opened up after several years of prepping it. Last year we got to tour it, if you remember that. We got to tour it while it was still under construction. And they will have their grand opening this weekend. You have an opportunity to attend it. You want to tell them the days?
Yeah, so there's a few days that you can attend. Friday, July 31st, 7 to 9 p.m. Saturday, August 1st, there's a women's celebration from 2 to 4 and a cultural procession from 5 to 7. And then on Sunday, August 2nd, there is a dedication from 11 to 1 and an open house from 1 to 4. For those of you guys who are original Hooverites, this is where the Dollar Theater used to be.
Yeah.
So that's a good frame of reference. If you've been around Hoover for a while, you know exactly where we're talking about.
And they've worked really hard at it, getting it ready, and it's been a few years, but they're ready to roll and they're ready to show it off. So this weekend, if you're on the last weekend of July, if you have an opportunity to go down and take a look at it. We had no other public comments that dealt with non-agenda items. Remember, if you want to speak on during public comments, you can just sign up. And you'll be recognized by Dr. Middlebrooks, who will call you up and you have 4 minutes to discuss anything. If it's an agenda item, Dr. Milbergs will tell you, hey, you want to talk about an agenda item, so we're going to let you wait until that particular item is being discussed so that it so you can give your comments at that time. Our consent agenda was rather lengthy. There were no real big issues on it that of note. There were several. Aldrich Gardens is getting.
That was a highlight. Yeah.
Aldrich Gardens is getting a new entrance thanks to a grant by Representative Mike Shaw.
Thank you, Mike Shaw.
And
Representative Mike Shaw.
Just for if you happen to see one of his campaign ads with drone footage, we helped out with some of that.
It's about $4,000 grant to help improve the entrance of Aldrich Gardens.
Now, last week, item number 8 was to close out fire station number 1. Last week, we officially opened.
High five.
Yeah, we officially opened fire station number 1.
How many months overdue?
Yeah, it was supposed to open last August, so it's now open. We did try the fire pole and twice.
I did not. I had to take a rain check due to my dress. Wasn't appropriate.
Yeah. Beautiful station if you have a chance to look at it. And I saw Pam Huff disgusted.
Thank you, Pam.
She gave it a shout out.
We appreciate her. Yeah. Pam is a Hoover resident, so she's a Hoover gem.
Yeah. So Station 1 is open. If you get a chance to stop by, it's really, really nice. And then we had no other large items to discuss on the consent agenda. Then we went to the regular agenda, and one of the items that was approved was the 9/11 remembrance at the River Chase Galleria.
Stair climb.
Yeah, stair climb.
Did you do it last year?
I went. I did not do the stair climb. You did, though, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and it was great. You have these lanyards with actual firefighters who have lost their lives in rescuing during 9/11, and so it's a very emotional time to reflect on the sacrifices and how thankful we are to have brave men and women who are there to give their lives for emergencies like that.
Definitely come out for that. It's a somber event, but this will be 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
So it'll be, the city will go ahead and put it out there on the city webpage and social media as to the exact date and time of where to be. We did appoint a member to the Healthcare Authority, a new member, Alan Burkett. Stepped off of the Healthcare Authority, and Don Lilly is the new member, and
I'm really excited about that. He's highly qualified.
Very qualified.
Had the privilege to speak with him, and just great.
And he also was my son's Little League coach back in the day.
It all comes back to Hoover, right?
He participated in youth sports, so. Very, very good appointment.
Yep. Thanks, Council Pro Tem Driver, for your appointment.
Now, you'll notice during the meeting, if you watched the meeting, that there was a resolution regarding the retirement fund. Councilor Smith abstained from that one because he is a retiree, and so that impacted him directly. So he abstained from that. Yeah. And from there, we went to we had a budget amendment. Which is in the packet. If you get a chance, we'll link the packet in the description of this video. You can look at it and see what the amendments are. And then we had a annexation, and we'll come back to a de-annexation a little bit further down the road.
Annexation stuff.
We had an annexation, and then we had a resolution with Stadium Trace Village Phase 1. One of the beauties of that resolution is that we will finally see Village Green, which has been in talks for over 4 years. That's going to be really exciting for the city, a very exciting project. Also, part of it is the three-way stop as you pull into Stadium Trace Village 1 is going to be replaced by a roundabout, which is what really should be there.
Right.
And so that was approved unanimously. we had some weed abatements and we had a property abatement. So weed abatement is where somebody doesn't take care of their yard properly, and so somebody files a complaint, and we get to vote on that. And then we had a property complaint with that was deemed a public nuisance. There was a lot of discussion on that. I won't go too much detail, but I think it's well worth.
Take a look at the footage.
Yeah, look at the video. It's well worth watching it because you can really see the council getting into the, for lack of a better word, getting into the weeds of certain items, and it's well worth the watching the exchange between the two, between all the council members on that. And we're getting another freestanding emergency department. That was a public hearing. And we kind of talked about the freestanding emergency departments. A lot of people like them.
Yep.
I know they're convenient.
I've benefited from one
Yeah.
personally with my family.
Yeah, and they're convenient and they're located strategically. So these are really, really good things when it's an emergency that doesn't necessarily require you to be admitted. If it's a major emergency, you're going to go to a hospital emergency room. But these are for, it's not quite urgent care. It's beyond urgent care, but it's not quite at the ER, at the hospital, kind of in between. And they're really, really an outstanding thing to have. We just had another one. We had a public hearing on another one on Valleydale Road. And then we had a de-annexing. Okay, and this is the opposite of an annexation. This is a de-annexation, and it's a church in near the Tattersall development. Ashley, you want to talk about that?
Yes, and I do think I'm going to go into a little bit more detail than probably what I normally would, but I think it's important for the Greystone area and surrounding areas to really dial into this because it's all about awareness, right? So you can make your mind up with the facts that you have going on. But should I give them the full story, kind of how things came about?
It's this church wants to do what? It's a church that wants to de-annex.
It's called Trinity Presbyterian, and it's directly, just a little bit adjacently, but mostly directly across from the intersection on Tattersall Park Drive, I believe is the actual name of it. But it's where the new stoplight that was put in post the development of the Tattersall area.
Yeah, and the short version is basically the city of Hoover has rules that you have to go through in order to do something.
So if something like, for instance, this is zoned for a church property, and the church would like to put a school on that property. So it would be, I asked a few questions. It would be K through 8th grade for now. The property is about 7 acres, and the church currently uses about 4 of those acres. And they plan in the first year to have about 50 students, and they do have plans to grow. He said, the pastor of the church said that he would like to create a high school, but that they weren't sure if it would fit on that property, and so they probably would have to pick another location. There's 2 things at hand that you need to be aware of. Number one is the fact that there's going to be a conditional use that potentially needed if they stay in Hoover, for instance, to put a school on this property. So you have to ask yourselves, it's important to know what's coming to your community. So you have to ask yourselves, how do you feel about having a school come onto 119 right there with that size, with potential for growth? And then the second aspect that I want you to think about is the de-annexation portion. That side of town is notorious for being confusing as to what boundary is what. In that instance, Birmingham City is adjacently to that property. So although in the meeting they said that there's really not any opportunity for growth for the city of Hoover, it's important to think about what de-annexing a property could mean for the community years down the road. So I want to use an example. Okay, think about we've got Pine Tree Acres. For the Greystone residents, they'll know where Pine Tree Acres is. That was a respite kind of getaway for children several years ago, and it is no longer. And so that property is currently for sale. It's currently zoned as unincorporated Shelby County. But recently, the city of Birmingham did try to acquire that property in order to move forward with development of some multifamily. So as a city councilor, it's important for us to think about what the decisions are and how they impact not only now, but what that means for the community in the future, because we want Hoover to remain, a place that people want to continue to live and raise families in. So that's really the things you need to think about.
And the thing with this particular property, is it suitable for a school? Yeah, probably. It's part of a church. It's not like it is not a suitable for it. However, we are very strong believers that the public should be informed of if something is going to change, and they should be able to give their input on items. We want people to be aware, and we want them to give their input on it, not on social media, but in person.
In person.
And that social media, anybody can give their input there, but in person it makes a difference. So in this particular case, it is not a item that would be out of place, but it's an item that needs to be considered before it can be approved.
Yep, exactly. And so we had the first reading, so I want to educate it. We'll have the first reading of that this evening, and we were able to ask a few questions. I strongly encourage you to take a look at some of the questions that I asked. I am the only sitting council person that lives on the east side, kind of near that area, so I do think some of the questions are important for you to tune in if you live on that side of town. But then also the idea of de-annexation. If we de-annex that land, we no longer have a say as to what's going to happen with that land ever again, unless they choose to come back into the city. It's regulated by the county, and they have their own set of guidelines. So it's something you should think long and hard about as what do you want as a resident? What potential things could you see possibly going there, and what that looks like 30, 40, 50 years down the road?
And, I did ask the question, if you don't get approved for the school, because now it's going to be up to Shelby County. It's no longer going to be a Hoover issue if they get de-annexed. If you don't get approved, would you want to come back into Hoover?
Yeah.
That was a question. And so the answer was no in this particular case. But if the church were to sell, because we did have the property owner as the owner of the church, is the way he put it. It was here. And so these are all items that we need to pay attention. We need to be involved. I know Ashley made a comment a minute ago that she's the only council member that lives on that side of town, which is precisely true. The advantage that it gives her over those of us that don't live over there is she sees it firsthand. Just like I live in Bluff Park, I see things in Bluff Park that she may not see there.
Yeah, that's why I am.
But I do want to point out one thing. I read this thing the other day where a resident posted, I need to contact the council member in my district.
That's right. That's a great point to clarify.
And so we don't have districts in Hoover. We have places, but they mean absolutely nothing when it comes to areas of town. I'm place 1, and Ashley's place 3, but we represent everyone in Hoover, and everyone in Hoover votes for everybody.
Yep.
So we don't have districts. We don't have different locations. You don't have your council member. We are all your council member.
Yep.
Okay. We are all. You can call any one of us. You can call all of us, and we will respond to issues.
And that's why I think it's important to note that we're well represented across the city. Like we have counselors that live in Ross Bridge all the way to, the East 280 side. So, and everywhere in between. So the coverage is great, and it's a good thing that we're at large.
So, I hope we always remain at large. That's my own personal opinion. I think that it's been asked in the past, should it be district? Hoover is not the type of city, I think, that is cut out to be districted. So that was that. That was the first reading, which means that no action was taken. It'll be taken on the August 10th meeting. And it was continued to, it was not continued, it was read, and it'll be discussed at the August 10th meeting. And that was it. There was no council comments. There was no other comments. So we adjourned a meeting that was a lot less in time than the last one.
Yep. And I do want to actually, real quick, Miss Brooke Henson, Exit 9 interchange. I want to just address that really fast. She had been asking for an update, and there's really no update to provide at this time. Things are just kind of moving along and kind of as they have been. So I know that we promised you all that we would have a mention and to talk about Exit 9, but until there's really something to talk about, we're gonna keep you updated, but there's really not anything going on at the moment.
And in the description of this video, you will have both of our email addresses. If there's a topic that you think we should bring up at one of the After the Gavels, it's a lot less formal than the council meeting, so we can go into greater depth. We want to keep the podcast brief, under 20 minutes, but if there's a topic that you think, hey, can you bring that up? Shoot us an email. And we'll be happy to discuss it and go into detail on it.
Just like the Exit 9. So thank you so much for submitting that request, Ms. Brooke.
So, and that's pretty much it. So, 3 things you have to do, all right? You have to like the video, you have to share the video, and you have to subscribe. And so that's pretty much all I have. Ashley, you have anything else?
No, thanks so much. Get ready for some updates on this whole de-annexation thing on my end. I'll put some stuff out there for you guys to take a look at. But thank you so much for joining us.
And so I'm Robin Schultz.
And I'm Ashley Lovell.
And we'll see you next time on After the Gavel.